Hi there, Cassandre Xavier here with part 2 of why I sleep on the floor. It's bittersweet. So in the first video I talked about some of the more positive or comfortable reasons that I sleep on the floor. And now I'm going to talk about actually what in part inspired me to even record this. The main reason I wanted to record it is that so it could be easier for me to record my daily fasting first thing in the morning videos without having to hide or mask where exactly I'm sleeping from. I'm sitting on the edge of the bed right now, but so that was the first reason I wanted to record it, but also because there is some pain and trauma and shame behind why I sleep on the floor, and it's stuff that has come up over time in the past few years. Even though I've lived here only since February 2017, I want to say. Right. So the next February will be 2 years. Yeah. So I don't sleep on floors all the time everywhere. When I lived with my late partner, I had my own bedroom, that's the best scenario, really. And living here, I don't have my own bedroom. And if we had a king-size bed, I probably could be comfortable enough to sleep with my friend. But as I mentioned before, both of us being larger people and myself really needing and enjoying a lot of space for personal preference as well as sleep needing reasons, having bipolar disorder and really needing to sleep well. I have sleep apnea. I use a CPAP machine. And so I just really can't deal with somebody rolling around next to me. So I'm just going to just dive in. The sleeping on the floor thing is connected to, in part to my difficulty receiving abundance in a way. Why can't I provide for myself? What's that about? So exploring that has been something for me. There's also something, I think, going on with self-worth, issues of self-worth, or at times lack thereof, related directly, related to and stemming from my childhood sexual abuse experience, which left a significant imprint on me. So while I'm able to be creatively productive and really have a positive mindset in life and really overall really be a happy person, certainly not always peaceful, but I'm really such a happy person. But I suffer at my own hand in a lot of ways, and that definitely comes from having been abused. I was talking about it in therapy today. Like, my therapist asked me what triggers my binge eating. And so I just talked about how first of all, it's not like I sometimes binge eat. Every time I eat, I overeat. So every time. So it's a punishing myself. It's an expression of anger, unexpressed anger. I was never able to express anger growing up. If you know anything about Haitians and how they raise their children. Yeah. So, that all relates. So I was telling my therapist that how I eat and do food is in part related to how I experienced love growing up and how I was hurt, and how child sexual abuse it's really soul rape. It really feels like soul rape, and it's so hard to come out of that 100% intact. So, and I also talked about the bipolar connection. A lot of times women with bipolar disorder often have some kind of an eating issue. So anyway, I'm touching my stomach as we speak. I'm like doing this to my stomach. So all that is related to why I sleep on the floor. And the first time that occurred to me was when I was homeless, when I was street homeless during the summer. I was street homeless for a year, but part of this time was like summer 2016, and I was sleeping on the floor in an enclosed large building and outside of a hotel. It wasn't the ground. I was definitely indoors. And I remember, so I would be sleeping there, and in the morning, people would come out of this hotel, and I know they would see me, and I know that I snore because I didn't have the machine at the time, or I couldn't always have it with me. And I just remember one day looking up and remembering the last time I slept on the floor and felt shame. And it was this thing that happened. I was an adolescent. I was in junior high school, and I had stayed out all night. Really, I stayed out all night on the back patio of my parents' house, but I had come home so late, like at midnight or later, and I was afraid to come in. I was afraid to come because I knew that I would get whipped and get in trouble. So for some reason, I avoided that by staying out back. My parents had no idea where I was. Of course, now as an adult, I can see how it must have been for them. And they probably, anyway, so I slept out on the porch in the backyard porch all night. Then in the morning, hi, I'm home. And so my punishment, how I was punished, was to sleep for a week or two. I don't remember if it was 2 weeks, but it was definitely at least a week in the laundry room. And I remember it was kind of like supposed to be like, you go sleep outside. It was supposed to be like that, but I remember being, this is such a bigger thing. I think I might have to talk about it another time, but I remember that at the time, it wasn't a horrible thing because there was no physical pain involved. I wasn't whipped, I wasn't beaten, as I usually had been. And it was just somewhat uncomfortable because the laundry room wasn't heated. There were 3 doors in the laundry room. One was